Hi, Christian Tudor here, academyofphotography.com. Today I'm gonna talk about light. This is the first chapter of the series of basics for photography tutorials. Why I wanna talk about light first? Well, light is the raw material for photographs. Without any light you're not gonna be able to take any pictures. A painter needs to understand his paint in order to produce a painting. The potter needs to understand his clay to make up a pot. So light is your raw material as a photographer. Without understanding how that works, you're not going to be able to control the results. So today I'm going to talk about what light is. I'm going to try to give you the definition through examples and a few classifications, what type of lights are out there and how we can use that on our advantage. Without further ado, let's start.
Light. What is light? Best way to understand light is through visualization of what is light and how it travels in space. Light is coming from a variety of sources and it's all around us. It comes from any object or matter that transmits energy like the sun, fire, melted metal, volcano lava, or man-made like light bulbs or light torches or candles, even your phone these days. Light is everywhere, and without light, life is not possible. Trying to explain this as simple as possible, light is a combination of electromagnetic waves and particles called photons. Photons are emitted by the light source in large numbers and they travel through space until they hit an object. They are traveling in a flow just like rain, but they travel from the source in all directions, not just one direction like the rain falls from the sky down. They travel as a flow but in waves, just like the water waves in a lake when you throw a rock and you can see those circles. But the waves are spherical, not just in one place, not just in one plane. There are also light travels in one direction, just like the rain, but these are lasers and we're not gonna get into that. Coming back, these photons are transmitted by the light source in huge numbers until they hit an object or a surface and they bounce. Now here's the thing, they bounce back in all directions, spreading again in space, spherical again. This is not like the ball bouncing on a surface as you might be used to visualize, as light is a big number of particles as each photon hits the surface and jumps into a different angle with a different energy in a different organized in different waves. Trying to picture that the surface of an object is actually not a flat, but each individual atom is an entity that has a shape. Not sure, because I'm not a physicist, but I would try to represent it with few balls. Photons are very small in comparison with these atoms, and they come in large numbers and they jump back in all directions. This is called reflection. These photons are going in all directions and they hit another object and jump again. We receive many of these photons from everywhere, all around us, and these photons penetrate our eyes and hit the back of our eyes, and they're forming the image and our brain interprets that. And this is the subject of a new tutorial, how that really works. We can classify light depending on the source. We have direct light, when the light comes from the source direct to the subject without any obstacles. Best example is light coming from the sun on a clear day, or light coming from a light bulb inside without any restrictions and without any other obstacles. Direct light can produce strong shadows, and using direct light someone needs to be very careful, because strong shadows and high contrast can be disturbing in an image. We can have also indirect light, when the light is either reflected by another subject or surface before it reaches the target, or is filtered through an obstacle like a cloud, a curtain, or both. Most of the time we have a combination of both, as the whole world around us reflects lights in all directions all the time. We can classify the light in relation to quality. We have hard light or harsh, or whatever you want to call it, when you see shadows. In most of the cases, direct light produces shadows, but shadows can be produced also by indirect light as well. If there's a shadow, then we have a contrast. The smaller the light source in comparison with the subject, the stronger the shadow. Also remember, the stronger the light, the stronger the contrast. In photography, strong contrasts are to be avoided as they create images that can be disturbing or create too much detail. That's not always the case. Sometimes the shadow is with intention. Also, we have soft light. We have soft light when the shadows are very soft or non-existent. This is a result of a large source of light in comparison with the subject. It could be like a softbox or like a blanket of clouds over the sky. Light properties. We have strength of light or light level. The number of particles gives the level of lighting. The more particles are traveling, the stronger the light is. More raindrops falling, the stronger the rain, so the faster you're gonna get wet. Just for our purposes, this is a simple classification of light levels, just an average for the human naked eye being able to capture. We're gonna keep this very simple. So the strongest light that we can have is probably the full sun in the mountains where there's snow. The snow is very highly reflective. A big percentage of the light from the sun is reflected all around. This light is so strong people need sunglasses to be able to cope. Also, we can consider very strong light also on the beach on a clear sky. We can also have a high level of light, not as strong as in the mountains or on the beach, just full sun outdoors in the middle of the day. An average level of lighting, like a normal day, in the morning, afternoon, or where vision is just normal, you do not need anything to be able to see clearly, or indoors, depending how many lamps are on in your room. There would be just a normal level. Also, low level of lighting, we can consider low level lighting in early mornings, late evenings, before sunrise or after sunset, or indoor when there's not enough light for you to see clearly, or dark. If there's no light, you can't see. That's the lowest level of lighting. Level of light can be measured with light meters in order to know how one can set up the photographic equipment, but this is a subject to a different chapter. We can also classify light depending on the temperature. The light doesn't have a temperature, it does have just a warmth or a cold feeling. Humans can see a large number of colors. Light colors are given by the frequency of light or the property of the object they fall onto, and it is described by wavelength frequency. We're not going to get into that as it can be very technical, but the only thing we need to remember is that light color sets up the mood in an image. We can have warm light when we see a yellow, red, orange feel and gives us a feeling of warmth. If you want to convey that feeling, you can use these colors to your advantage. Or we can have cold light when the general look is green or blue and the colors are basically cold colors conveying a cold feeling. So basically we have classified light depending on the source. We have direct light and indirect light. Depending on the quality, we have hard light and soft light. And depending on properties, we have low light, medium light or strong light, and also depending on temperature or color, we have warm light or cold light. I think this is the most complicated as we can consider. More than this is getting too technical, and just remember this and you will be able to control these things for your own advantage. Okay, this is an example of the direct light. The sun is it's close to midday. Sun is high up the sky and very strong. The problem with this time for taking pictures is that strong light, strong shadows. Your subject is not gonna like to be in the sun, and they're always gonna cramp their face. This is not to be done. This is just for illustration purposes. I always try to avoid this time of the day to shoot outside. I'm gonna show you what's the result of such a photograph. I'm gonna use my camera settings on auto just for illustration purposes. So the camera chooses a shutter speed of 250, ISO 100 and an aperture of 5.6. One solution to make a better picture out of it is just using the flash as a fill flash. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna turn the flash on, put it on ETTL. Basically this is the automatic settings for the flash. The flash will pick itself exactly what's the power. The camera picks itself the power, so this is on full automatic, anyone can do it. You will see shortly there's a big difference between using the flash during the day and not using it. Another solution for this will be actually to shoot against the sun. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take my mannequin head and I'm gonna put it against the sun on the other side, so I'm gonna shoot against the sun. Okay, we have turned the subject with the face on the shadow part, so the sun is behind the subject. We're gonna shoot against the sun and you will see that this is fully in shadow, and because it's fully in shadow, this light is basically all the reflected light around us. This is a way better picture because we don't have strong shadows on the subject's face. So I'm gonna take a few test shots just on automatic. Just for illustration purposes, I want to use also the fill flash to see the difference. Again, full automatic ETTL. It's exposure through the lens, just for people who know what that is. We're going to talk about that later. So I'm going to use the flash now to show you the difference. Another solution for this problem, shooting in the full sun, is actually moving the subject into the shade. That's a way better option, and if I don't have a choice, I'm asking all my subjects, and including myself, to move all of us inside the shadow, so we don't have the strong light and the strong shadows on the subject's face. I'm gonna show you in a second what I mean by that. The best choice in case of a full sun outside and strong shadows is actually move into the shade. Into the shade, what that means, we're not gonna have any direct light from the sun, where everything is gonna be reflected light from everything around us, and you can see all the shadows are very soft and there's no strong shadows to disturb us. I'm gonna take a few test shots and I'm gonna show you my results soon. I'm gonna turn on the fill flash just for illustration purposes. There's no really need for fill flash in this case because we are all in the shadow and there's no high contrast to fill in with the flash. Just in conclusion, if you have to shoot in full sun outside, we have direct light, strong light, harsh shadows. Two or three things you can do is use the fill flash in if you don't have a choice, and there are always instances where you don't have a choice, or move against the sun, shoot against the sun, ask people to actually have the sun at the back of their heads, so you can actually catch their faces in full shade. It's not going to be full shade, but it's going to be a lot of light, so I wouldn't be worried about that. Or move everyone into the shadow, and this is the best thing to do, is because in the shadow we have only reflected light, indirect light, so the shadows are not strong. This is the best picture.